Welcome to the Elise Morgan Experience, the podcast where transformation meets sass, where personal development gets a New York attitude, and where we're not afraid to tackle those controversial topics head on. I'm your host, Elise Morgan, a life coach, author, and transformational speaker on a mission to help you live a life you absolutely love. Whether you're going through a challenge or chasing dreams, we are going to unlock the secrets of the law of attraction, conquer your self-doubt, master your mind, and navigate life's curveballs with a smile. And it's not just about me talking at you. It's about us together exploring the incredible power that lies within you. So get ready to embark on an exciting journey to create a life you love with me, leading the way with my unapologetic authenticity, straight talk, humor, and love. Buckle up and hit subscribe because this isn't just a podcast. It's an invitation to a life-changing experience. Let's make some magic happen. Hello world. Welcome to the Elise Morgan Experience. I'm your host, Elise Morgan, and this is episode 7. In the air tonight. My wedding and people pleasing. What? In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins has to do with people pleasing? What the fuck are you talking about is probably what you're saying. Well, the song itself does not obviously have anything to do with people pleasing. The song is iconic and one of the best known songs of all time. Also one of my faves and one that means something to me and my husband for now. 2 reasons. Not 1 reason. 2 reasons. The first one is because we used to hear this song all the time in the car, while we were dating and engaged and always sang it together. Well, I wound up lip syncing the words because my singing voice is horrible and my husband reminds me to please stop singing every time I try and belt one out. So when we were getting married, I planned and conspired my bridal entrance to that very song. Legit, with practice after practice, secretly practicing my walk out at my wedding venue, secretly meeting with the DJ, secretly having my sons practice with me since they were walking me down the aisle, which, by the way, meant the very world to me. And I also secretly, of course, letting my maid of honor and best man know, how to let everyone know what's going down and how they are supposed to participate. Of course, the only one that didn't know that what was going to happen was my soon-to-be husband at the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the song. I'm going to show you, so here's how everything was supposed to go. I'm going to play the song and I'll explain it as I go. So, this is me walking out with my sons. All the guests are looking at us like, what is going on, right? This isn't the usual way a bride walks in. So here we are, we're walking. Everyone's looking. Right around now, we stop. I give my kids a hug and a kiss as they let me go, and now I lip sync. I'm singing this to the audience right now. I'm facing the audience. Now I face my husband. By the way, he has no idea what's going on. I face the audience again, the guests. And I look down. My entrance, it sounds weird on here, but I acted it all out. I lip synced it all and then walked up to my husband, oh Lord, and then looked down. And then there was silence. And then, the woman that married us was like, wow, what an entrance. So fast forward to You May Kiss the Bride. We do our whole ceremony, which was beautiful. I had a lot of rituals that we did and songs that went to the rituals, which, I'll speak about again in a minute. But then we go to You May Kiss the Bride. And when you say You May Kiss the Bride, it's the drum part of Phil Collins' song, Everyone was handed out LED sparklers. The lights are gonna dim. Everyone's gonna hold up their sparklers. Fireworks are going off. The whole kit and caboodle. So I'm just gonna play it. Okay, here it goes. You may kiss the bride. Alright? Lights dim. Everyone's holding up their sparklers. We're all holding our hands up. Everyone's waving their hands. Kind of like a concert. So that's what's supposed to go on. And then we all, walk back out of the venue. So, that was how it's supposed to go. I hope you were able to kind of hear me speaking over that amazing freaking song. But what did happen is forever in my mind. And in the grand scheme of life, it really is no big deal, of course, but I'm telling you this story for a reason, and that will be revealed shortly, I promise. So what happened, Elise? Tell us. What happened, Elise? Tell us. So here's what went down. Right before the wedding, I went over everything with the DJs. They come into the venue and they go over everything. There were a lot of elements of our ceremony that had songs corresponding to it. The candle lighting, the ring ritual with my sons and my bridal party, also the songs for the intros of the bridal party, and of course my secret entrance. All had to be confirmed and gone over because, your wedding isn't an audition, right? It's not an audition. It only is one time, so we want to get it all right. So the part where the drums come in, that I mentioned, and you may kiss the bride, lights dimmed, blue, up lights go on, all the guests hold up their LED sparklers, big sparkler fireworks things going off on either side of us as we're kissing. It's like a freaking show. Oh my God, so amazing. That's how I saw it in my mind for months and months. A big event ending to the ceremony. Rock star style, kind of, right? But when I went over it all with the DJ, he said, don't dim the lights so that all your pictures of your ceremony will be the same. Like copacetic. Like the lighting will be the same. And in that split second, I said, okay. In that split second, I said to myself, well, he knows what's best. He does this for a living. And overrode my desire for my vision. Overrode all my plans in order to agree and be, for lack of a better word, a people pleaser. I planned this surprise entrance and, the kiss the bride part for months and months. And I let his decision and opinion override mine at my own freaking wedding. Now, I will admit, I have a million people-pleasing things that I have done in my life, but this one stings the most. Since I have elevated myself mentally so much by this time. I got married only 2 years ago. So why did that happen? What I think is in that hectic time of going over it all, getting ready to be married, having the ceremony, the party, wanting everything to go right. People were arriving soon when we were going over all this. So my knee-jerk reaction was that he knows better than me. Like my old thought patterns kicked in. I didn't listen to myself or what I wanted. So why am I telling you all this? This isn't about the ceremony not going as planned. Because, shit happens. In fact, the florist messed up my all-white wedding. I had an all-white wedding, and he threw pink roses everywhere also. So, stuff does happen that's out of our control. But this is about that I didn't listen to myself and what I wanted, and I allowed someone else to override my wishes. There are so many reasons why some of us do this. But let's start with what is the definition of people pleaser in the context of, this conversation. So a people pleaser is a person who has an emotional need to please others, often at the expense of his or her own needs or desires. And I think also from my story is we don't think our decision is the best and we don't trust ourselves in our decisions. So that's why we do it as well. For me, growing up, I wasn't really asked what I wanted. I was kind of always told what to do, or never how to make a decision. For instance, when we went out to eat growing up, if I couldn't decide what I wanted to eat, at the diner, let's say, or the restaurant, let's say I couldn't decide between two dishes, my dad would just say, get both. And all of us did. We were a family of 6, so there was always at least 12 dinners on the table, and then some. Or I remember telling my dad I wanted to go to another high school so I can take veterinary classes, because at the time, that's what I wanted to do as a career. But I would have had to take 2 city buses a couple of towns away, and he was like, nah, you don't want to do that. In essence, he didn't support my decision and talk me out of it. In fact, he did that for me going to college as well. And I always listened, and not to my own desires. I always admired the people who didn't listen and did what was in their hearts or their soul's purpose, no matter what, even if it was their own parents telling them. It fascinated me because I just couldn't or didn't know how to do that. Also, besides my parents, in my first marriage, no way was I asked for my decision, or asked my decision or allowed to make one. So I think for me, even as a strong personality, with my history, it's hard for me to make decisions. Sometimes to this day, I tend to second guess myself or overthink or put others' needs, wants, and desires before my own. But, of course, with all the inner work that I have done and all the personal development I have done over the years, that has dissipated immensely. But why do some of us put others' needs before our own, others' desires before our own? And it's usually from a lack of self-worth. And even if your self-worth isn't at its lowest, it can mean that you think others are always more worthy than you. So you come second, always, or even lower. Pleasing others and having empathy and care is noble and human nature for some. But when it overrides you and what you want and your well-being and your morals, that is when it's not good at all. Mind, body, or soul. So let me ask you this. Are you a people pleaser? Do you say yes to people all the time, even if you don't want to or can't really do what they are requesting? Are you always the one giving and not really getting in return? And no, that is not why we give. But for the sake of this podcast, are you always emptying yourself for others and it feels like they maybe take advantage or don't appreciate? Do you feel like a doormat? Do you feel like you don't even know who you are anymore? Giving your all to everyone else and getting nothing back? Do you sometimes feel angry and resentful when you don't do what you want after the fact? Kind of like how I feel or felt after my wedding ceremony. If so, I would love to hear from you and about your feelings and perhaps help you not feel this way anymore or allow yourself to do that anymore and learn the steps I learned to not do it anymore or as much. Sometimes we do it, but you won't do it as much. So, again, reach out to me via social media or email, located in the show details. So no strings attached, just a conversation. I want to hear if you feel you're a people pleaser or what are some of your people pleasing stories. I totally look forward to it. So anyway, I don't dwell on what happened on the day of my wedding. Like I've said before, why dwell on things that don't make us feel good? But my husband does say that, are you ever going to let that go that day, the thing that didn't go right? Because I usually mention it to him, about what happened when I hear the song In the Air Tonight, because it does remind me of that moment. But